run on apple.
Give me an orange.
Give me an orange. Well, I was thinking about our discussion today, and I thought about maybe talking a little bit about technology.
Technology.
Do you know what the definition of technology? Now, don't interrupt me, Lloyd. I want to explain this. The definition of technology is the implementation of an abstract idea into a tangible product that is usable. That's the definition. For instance, as an example,
word for it.
pre-caveman, prehistoric caveman, as he was hauling big items around, dragging it or putting it on his shoulders, he thought, man, there ought to be a way to make this easier. And so he thought of like cutting logs.
Make a sled.
Making a sled-like thing on logs, so it rolled it along, and he kept having to put those logs from the back in the front, move along. And then he thought, well, if I could just figure out some way to cut those pieces of logs in flat circles and then put a hole in it with a rod going through those circles, I could put my sled on top of that and just haul it on those round things. And
probably
that's probably a wheel.
Probably while he's sitting there trying to figure that out, he gets eaten by dinosaurs.
Yeah, so it's a long process till somebody else comes up with that idea. But once he comes up with the idea, and he goes and gets Joe, the rock person that knows how to cut rocks. Can you cut this shape that I've drawn here into reality? So they cut it. They get a big pole and put it in between it. Voila! They got a wheeled cart. That's technology. It became something from. That's all technology is. Now in today's time, we have adapted that term technology to mean the devices that we use, electronic devices. In school, they call it the technology department because it handles the computers. Technology. But technology is a pair of scissors was technology.
Yeah, you ain't kidding.
Anything like that became useful.
The best invention to mankind ever is air conditioning.
That's technology.
Well, when you stop and think about it, for hundreds, thousands of years, since the beginning of history where mankind started writing down stuff, we did things the same way, one generation after another. The bricklayer, he taught his son how to lay brick, he taught his son how to lay brick, and they just always did it the same way. Until basically in our lifetime, if you stop and think about it, we're called the baby boomers, the post-World War II. We came out of that with those old party line telephones, right? Telephone on the wall, right? With the old dial-up and all that. And
our first one was 713OL.
That's right. And that was high tech to us. But since then, our grandfathers, they never rode on an airplane. In fact, they didn't even have airplanes when they were born. All right, our grandparents. When was the airplane? 1911 or something. All right, they didn't even have airplanes.
The Wright brothers, or the Wrong brothers.
But since we've been born, all of this, we learned how to type in school on manual typewriters. We didn't even have. Okay.
You beat them to death.
And so, all of this new technology today has happened just in our lifetimes.
Yes.
Before that, for thousands of years, they did things the same way, one generation after another.
Yeah.
It's amazing that they never really thought of a few things. I mean, they came up with a cotton gin and, a few things along the way.
Things say in the 12th century
like going on
to the 15th or 16th century for 400 or 500 years. It was exact, isn't it?
It's the same thing.
Do you recall that example I just told you a few minutes ago about the prehistoric man inventing the wheel? That was technology. Well, what you say has is partially true. There was a great advancement in technology starting at a certain point. The industrial age, technology advanced exponentially, but technology itself was not limited to time. It was limited to whatever man could think about and make, and whatever point God gave him the light to create. Oh, and he thought of this and made it. somebody made it. But that's been going on since mankind.
Talk about this time.
But not at the rate that it is.
Exactly, it sped up.
Which was first? We've all studied and heard about the Ice Age, and different ages. Which one of them was first? Was it real cold first, and then it became the Iron Age, or whatever?
I'm not up on that.
You remember studying that?
A little bit, but I don't know what. I think the Ice Age came after the dinosaur age, before man came.
That's how they got from one continent to another. The ice flows.
Well, the way the Earth is formed and functions, the ice is at the North and South poles, because that's the part that's the coldest, the extreme areas of the Earth. And that ice, at some point, there was an ice age where that cold crept. I mean, it went down, it covered like half the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
And the ice and the glaciers would slide down. That's where a lot of earth and rocks and mountains were moved by those glaciers. Well, I don't know what time-wise, I don't know where it fits in. I don't know.
Well, Ronnie, Philip and I were talking about you. Well, your group, your cohort, the other day, and us too. How ignorant our generation is on the computer stuff.
That's right. I am.
Most people our age, you probably check your email and some things.
Oh, I don't even do that anymore. It's just too much to
It's
try
just
to
overwhelming.
Yeah,
overwhelming. And most of the people of our generation, they're just scared to death to touch the computer.
Don't touch it, man. Yeah.
And yet the little kids are coming
These
up.
5 and 6 year olds, they just go all over. Yeah.
But yet that stuff is, when we look at national news about artificial intelligence and going to the moon and all this stuff that Elon is doing with capturing a rocket, all that by computer, right?
Yeah.
That stuff is so far over our heads, but yet.
But still, in all this AI,
it's useful.
How it can do a million tidbits in a second. Why do we need that? I mean, and listen, R is artificial. That means it's not real.
No, it's not real. It doesn't mean it's not real.
Yes, it does. Artificial word artificial means it's not real. Artificial grass is astroturf.
But artificial intelligence only means it's a computer that is not a real brain. It's not an organic real person.
Human.
But yet it's artificial. It's not real.
Well, it can probably see a human gets tired. I mean, part of our mortal condition is that we can only work so long. We got to stop and go rest.
Right.
And our efficiency goes down as our mind gets weary and our bodies get tired. But you can develop computers that never get tired and they never slow down.
Yes, but they're made by man.
They are made by man to do that.
And they produce a lot of heat and they break.
That's right.
They can break and we got to cool them off.
Or they can lie.
There are problems with it.
They can lie to you.
Very highfalutin problems that have to be solved. But man's brain has to solve those. And
now.
And then it just goes right on.
But at the rate they're developing them, eventually they're going to have those brains on the computers that are solving their own problems and fixing themselves.
Yeah, you can't totally rely on that stuff because it's if it ever makes a bad turn and it does it so fast and everything, it's going to be so chaotic you'll never get it back to where it's supposed to be right. Have you ever programmed?
I'm not seeing a counter on your thing moving over there.
Have you ever programmed?
Is it counting?
No.
It's like it stopped. This happened last time.
I can't remember what I said before now. I'll never be able to say it again. But how many times, Philip, have you ever traveled when you punch in your destination and you can get to almost there and you're seeing the people you're meeting up here on the left in a parking lot,
it's counting again,
and it's telling you, turn right here, turn right. I know I ain't gonna turn right. I ain't gotta turn right. They're right there. Them things will lie to you. It's boy, at your earliest opportunity, make a U-turn.
Yeah, it's basing it on the limited scope of knowledge.
Stuff's fed into it.
Yeah,
that's right.
Whereas a human, they can think rapidly and deal with the problem as it occurs because they have such a broad collection.
We may have to start this whole thing over. I don't know.
Why is it spinning so fast now?
Well, it's talking now. It's picking. It's recording.
I thought it was recording before.
Well, it was, but for some reason it stopped. Probably overheated. Technology.
That's technology.
Overheated, yeah.
Well, we still got everything on film.
Anyway, it's
We
recording.
started talking
It's
about
recording
the
now.
Ice Age and it shut down, probably.
Yeah.
Boy, I'm way behind.
But I am personally, even though I'm behind the curve in my age group, fascinated with technology, and I'm pleased that we have it.
Are you?
I am.
Well,
Because-
it don't matter whether you're pleased with it or not. Technology exists, whether you were ever born or anything.
well, that's true, but I'm not unhappy about it. Just so y'all know.
Well, there's good things about everything that is being created, but there's bad things that go with it. There's nothing perfect. Nothing.
Well, I'm,
Pair of scissors.
you know, I got my first computer back in the early '80s. I heard about computers. And I begged my wife to let me get one. And she said, "What would you do with it if you had one?" I said, "Well, I could do amazing things. I don't know what, but I got a little Tandy 1000 from Radio Shack. That was the hot thing. And they had an 800 number. It had no manuals, no internet in those days. And I had to call that 800 number. And no, I don't even think they had an 800 number. I think you had to pay for the call.
Lord, you
And they
know,
would tell you to hold this key down or hold that key down.
What were the first computers used for? What was the purpose of it?
Well, IBM developed the first mainframe
speed
computer.
things up, or
Basically, to, I
What
think,
things?
keep up with
Anything.
time cards and
Data.
stuff.
information.
Keep up with.
See, when the Highway Patrol, that I was employed with all my life, went to the computerized stuff, and they put computers in our patrol cars. You banded it over and just took up more room. And I told the lieutenant and all of them, they do them few people at a time. I said, make sure, this was close to my time to retire anyway, put me towards the very end of this, because when you put one in my car, I'm going to have to retire. No, you won't. You'll be able to do fine. So this sergeant I had, he would come up to Century, and we'd park out there in the parking lot, and he would go into it trying to explain it to me, and all he did was wow me with his ability, and I'm picking up a little bit. I figured out how to play that pinball thing on it, real quick. But he said, here's something else. And of course, I overdid a lot of this with those looks I had, bewildered, and they just, you get it?
Yeah.
Said, oh,
Like
yeah.
that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, like that.
Like that.
I got pressed on. But I would say, now that Highway Patrol, when you go in at night and you check off, they want you to just unplug this computer and take it in your house so that it won't get stolen, a car broke into. I said, well, we're feeding a lot of stuff into it. I'll do that as long as I'm able to carry it in there. It's going to be so full in time. It's going to be so heavy, I ain't going to be able to carry it in there without a forklift or something. That's when they turn and you just as serious as like that.
Well, back in
I said, we'll be so glad when you retire.
back in about 1975,
Yeah.
I had gotten out of the Marine Corps, and I took a class over at college on Fortran. That was an early computer language, and nobody even knew what it was, hardly. The guy teaching it was Jim Eddins, on the winery.
Okay.
And Jim didn't hardly know what it was either, but
Cussed every other word.
yeah. And so I was working in those days in life, and I was selling life insurance, and they had come out with this little terminal that you could go into somebody's house, and you could make a proposal for them. You could say, well, here's what the policy would pay over the next 20, and you could take their telephone and put it in a little cradle in that thing and dial up a number, and it would go like,
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
and then after a while,
Dial up.
miraculously, this was basic. It would print out that proposal, and you tear it off, and they were extremely impressed. I took that thing into class, and everybody what was wowing it. This wasn't even a computer. This was nothing but a terminal, right? That's all I had was just a terminal. It was coming over analog through those telephone lines,
Yeah.
and so that went on and on. When I got this little Tandy 1000, they didn't have hard drives back then. They had little floppy 5 1/4 inch floppy disk that you put everything on.
But even for the program, you put
Even the program was on a floppy. You had two of them, duals, and you had to put your program in and take it out and all that. And then you had to save stuff on that floppy drive.
It didn't come with a hard drive in it.
Didn't have hard drives then. No.
Technology
And
is
then they
something.
later came out with hard drives and little small floppies, and now they've got little bitty tiny cards you could put like gigabytes on.
And the operating system was probably just basic.
When they put people on the moon with technology that wasn't even close to what's in a regular little handheld
Yeah, listen.
smartphone today.
Talking about that, Lord, at the time man walked on the moon, which was in 1969, July the 20th, Randy's first birthday, I can remember working in West Palm Beach, and there was a technology in the radio room. A lot of times the dispatcher wouldn't be the one come in, so I'd be the only trooper in Palm Beach County when I checked on the midnight shift. So I would go down to the patrol station, and if there was no dispatcher coming in, I took off my gun belt and laid it over, and I became the dispatcher and I'd take the calls. And of course, Miami was flooded even then with stolen cars just everywhere. And you get it on the teletype, and it printed off the old flex line. You had to put them on
the
there.
old teletype.
And listen, you'd have them lined up on the desk, stolen vehicles, And of course, they recover them by daylight. A lot of them, you just pull the garbage can over.
They were little strips of paper.
Little strips, yeah. Flex line, you had to keep that up. And if they had a wreck in our county and there wasn't deputies to take care of it, I would get on the radio and say Palm Beach to Pahokee or somewhere, or the next station, the station signed off, the trooper would be 10-8 going to work a wreck and all that. I'd actually done that and signed the Palm Beach station off, and KIB 473, and then signed it off and go work the wreck and come back in and take a gun and go back to working the radio.
So
Of course, phone just ringing everywhere. But later, when I come to Pensacola, and this was in 1970, O.T. Cason, who was renowned as the old guy that just throw everybody into the river, O.T. Cason, the Cason building is named after him. He was in there working the radio one Saturday morning, and I come by the station and check my mailbox, day shift. It was the old station down there, it's a Marine Patrol now, and he's in there in the radio room. Phones are ringing everywhere. He's picking them up, and all. Albritton, come on, how about helping me with these phones here? So it only took a minute. I'm standing over there when he, okay, all right, we'll get it. And he would punch the next one, and he's cutting this one off. So they invariably call right back, and this just lit up the whole bunch. I said, sorry, let me give you a heads up on this. I said, listen, you see that red button there on your panel? You got to punch that to hold that caller. So when you don't, and you punch the other one, you hung up on him, he's calling you back. He was just flooded with them. And he said, okay, here, how about come around and take over with this for a little while?
Yeah, I remember those old phones with the red button.
Oh, my
the
gosh,
whole
yeah,
button.
the whole
You used to have them in
button.
the Marine Corps.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah. But that was hilarious. O.T. Cason, man, he was legend on the highway patrol.
Well, so the beginnings of the computer that initially was used by government and business for keeping track of lots of information.
Keep track of
Pretty
lots of
much.
information. Well, the moon project advanced technology, computer technology, more than anything, I think.
But at what step did it start becoming like for people to own, like when you bought your first one as a word processor or something? When did that start?
I don't know.
In the 80s, 70s?
Eddie Raines was
probably
pretty,
80s.
Eddie Raines was pretty keen on that stuff. I remember me and Linda met him and Cheryl one time. This was back in it might have been, they lived over in Mayfair off Mobile Highway. We met them at Adrian's Ranch House or somewhere, had supper, and we are going to go back to their house. I rode with him, and Linda rode with Sharon. We went back to his house and went in his room. He had a room with all the stuff, computer set up, and I had just heard about this electronic email, they call it. And previously, when we got paid, we got a check. It came a physical check, and it was in a blue envelope.
That went in the 70s.
Always a
We didn't have
blue
email
envelope.
in the 70s.
Yeah. But
No, we didn't have
they,
email in the
they
70s.
put them in blue envelopes so we wouldn't just tear it away. It was junk mail most of the time.
Oh.
We got to stop it. Their guys are tearing up their check when we. I know. Let's put it in so that when somebody went by the patrol station and they found out payday, and they would pick up and let everybody know blue mail's in. You know, everybody would.
That was an actual envelope.
Yeah, a big blue envelope. You know, and it was your paycheck. But
Well,
but
computer
it-
technology actually started to come on the scene in the 60s, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Back at Ross
Oh
Perot.
yeah, right.
Uh,
Stay with me on this now.
yeah. But it was for industry. It was for government and
Sure,
large
yeah, yeah.
companies. But
And they were about the size of that bookcase over there.
that's right.
And the common use of it, we didn't see a use for it. There was no use for it
Right,
until
right.
somebody said, "Well, you can use
can do
this
this,
to
you can
type
do
letter.
that."
It'll replace the typewriter."
Uh-huh.
Or they said, "You can keep track of all your relatives,
Mhm.
or you can send
Data management.
Yeah.
You can send email. You know, email began inter-office emails first.
Yeah. Or if you're a senator or legislator and you don't want to vote on certain bills, you can sit over and look busy and be playing solitaire on them, like most of them are doing.
Yeah.
You know?
Play games. Yeah.
Play games on them.
But they do the basic three things that a computer does today is writing, word processing, and what's the other one? Data management. You know,
Yeah.
keeping up with
And
client base.
asking you to change your password.
And calculating spreadsheet.
Well,
Those are your three basic applications.
You hunt for the
almost
thing
all.
for the password,
spreadsheets.
you're wrong,
As
invalid,
the,
invalid.
as the uses for computers became greater and greater, and people discovered and invented other software and uses for it, eventually it became all pervasive. It's like it controls the world now. Computers, I'm talking about, not technology, not the wide definition of technology, but the broad, narrow definition of computer technology. In the movie industry, everywhere, it's operated. Your car has computers in it. Everything has a computer, a digital component to it, operating certain functions about that device.
Consequently, not just anybody, shade tree mechanic, can't work on nothing anymore. You got to have an analysis.
Yeah.
You know, machines have to be analyzed, and it has to give you that problem while it's on the analysis thing, or it never shows up.
Well, this has created huge problems. The music industry, for example, I hear these music stars, people stealing their music because it's all digitized now. We used to go to the record store and buy a physical record, put it on a record player, and play it.
Yeah.
That's how they made their money.
It's created digitally in the studio.
It's created in the studio digitally, and now it's download. You buy, download, and bam, you bought it.
Well, here's another thing, too, that boggles the mind. And these people that are so smart that can do this term, they put their stuff in a cloud. You know?
Not a literal cloud, right?
Yeah, I
They call
know.
it the cloud.
I know,
You
but
know
it's
that,
in
don't you, Ron?
it's in a cloud. But somewhere it's off out here
Everybody
in the
thinks
cloud.
it's in the clouds.
Yeah. Man, wait a minute. It's kind of cloudy today. There must be a lot of data up there.
It's a
somewhere.
huge computer terminal.
Don't them airplanes
somewhere
interfere with it?
That's
Yeah,
right.
with a lot of memory in it, and that's where they put
Yeah,
that stuff.
but how does people, like, you see it or hear about it all the time, where they raid a house and the guy has hid his stuff, and they'll put it on
the
somebody else's computer at night and you got it on yours, and they come in your house and you got this child porn stuff on it. I don't have any idea where that came from. How do they achieve that?
They found some at your house?
No. but
You said you didn't have any idea where it came from.
you
sounded
wouldn't
kinda-
have any idea.
Oh, you're talking hypothetically.
Yeah, but not political. Hypothetically, Lloyd, think about it. I mean, how would anybody know how? When was
you
the
know
first
anything about
person?
this Epstein case, Ronnie? Or you got any inside?
I'm curious about where he's going here with this. Just don't interfere long.
So you maybe
But
get toward
y'all know
Epstein.
what I'm talking about. You just BS.
You have the capability to move that information to another computer. How do they know it's you?
And listen, they don't matter. They just put it somewhere, but you don't even have to leave your computer on. A lot of people think you just turn it off.
Right.
It's
That's
just
right.
like your phone. You got to take out the battery. But if that thing does any kind of, they know right where you're at, you know.
Well, the big thing now is to disconnect or connect to the internet.
Mm-hmm.
The internet, aside from the computer functions, the internet itself has become all evasive, and
Pervasive.
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 So that to keep track of you got to be connected to the internet. Your bank, you log into your bank and you'll say, well, you need to be connected to the internet to do this. So let's have some more security so other people can't cut.
But is it? It may be less security. The best security is put your stuff in a vault or some PVC pipe and bury it and be there looking out your house with a scope rifle. If anybody messes with it, you kill him. That's the best security you can have.
Ronnie, here's see what y'all think about this thought. I have always, I'm one of these people who I don't believe there's any difference between God and science. I believe God performs what he does through science. If you and I knew how to do it, we could do the same thing, right? So basically, I remember these old beam 'em up Scotty
Oh yeah.
thing, where you go stand in a tube.
Uh-huh.
Now, in Vietnam they had this technology for World War II, the Enigma.
Yeah.
You send a message and the message is scrambled
Oh yeah.
between here and there, and then when it gets to the other end, you have a code and they descramble it. They put the puzzle back together again, and there's your message, right? Well, this thing has got extremely sophisticated, so I'm wondering why they couldn't do that with a human body. In other words, Scotty goes and stands in the tube, and what happens, that light comes on and Scotty disappears.
Did you ever see the movie?
Let me finish.
Did you ever see the movie
Forget
The Fly,
the movie.
Lloyd?
Forget the movie. And then he appears on the other end. Scotty has been scrambled and then put back together, right?
Yeah.
Now,
With his ear up here,
hopefully nothing goes wrong.
Or you got his Peter, right?
That's right. Yeah. Look, Dick, that's where Dickhead first come from. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
When you talk about God or angels moving from one planet to another, right, in an instant. Well, I think that's just scientific. We don't know how to do that yet, but we're headed there.
Yeah.
Right.
So what you're saying, God is the author of everything, including science.
Including science.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there's really no. When you try to say, "Oh, I don't believe in God. I believe in science."
God is the enabler of all that.
He's the enabler of that, and it's through supreme knowledge that he's able to do that. And we're getting there. I mean, ultimately, as we advance, we get closer and closer to understanding those things to where we could put a man on the moon simply by having him go stand in that tube, and we could turn on a switch, and he'd beam up to the
Zap
moon.
him up there. Yeah.
Without a
That's all. That's not high. That's just like the old Dick Tracy watch. We used to think was magic.
I know. Yeah.
That's old. That's old stuff now.
Yeah.
without a definitive knowledge of the time since that thing went off over there, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say we're close to our maximum time here for 30 minutes.
Yeah.
So
6 minutes.
let's shut it off and we'll go with what we've got, and maybe we can continue
I don't know if we did a very good job of explaining this stuff today. I don't think we explained anything.
No, I think we did good.
But maybe we brought up a few questions for the folks to think about.
That's what we just bring up the questions. We don't answer anything.
Are we ever going to get to where we can answer any questions?
I doubt it. I don't know anything.
We might be more popular if we did. If we could actually answer.
What was that middle part?
Middle part.
All right. Say goodbye.
It's been large.
Goodbye.
I hope everything works.